Can't find a job? Don't write a resume. Write a book instead. Welcome to episode 5. This episode is for those of us in the market. Yes, myself included. It's time to stop job hunting and position ourselves to be the hunted. Want to become a sought-after candidate? I know I do. Stop tweaking your resume and applying to 25 jobs a day because let's be honest, it's not working. You already know the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? Yeah. So it's time to do something different, radically different, something that can put the odds in our favor. Unless you like competing with the other 3,458 other resumes being submitted for the job. As for me, I'd rather be sought after because I know that I am one of one. And I know that writing a book is a way to fast track that process. I've been helping business leaders write their books since 2018, alongside holding 9-to-5 jobs. I'm finishing my first book now, and this episode is about helping you join us by becoming an author. Welcome to Your Business Book Bestie, a solo podcast experience hosted by me, writing strategist Denise Renee. I help Gen X and millennial professionals write books that make their career, business, or thought leadership brand visible. This podcast is an invitation into the running conversation in my head about writing books, building a brand, and any cultural happenings that even remotely relate. So grab a cozy beverage and let's talk. Part 1. Why writing a book is more effective than writing a resume. Now, I admit, this isn't advice you hear being shouted from the rooftops of the internet. Sure, entrepreneurs, company founders, and side hustlers are encouraged to write books to grow their personal and business brands. But employees? Yeah, no one's touting this for you and I as a strategy, except for me. And I guess that's because of the unique place that I hold, having one foot in the entrepreneurship world and another in the employee world. Because this advice isn't the norm for people who are often underappreciated in the corporate structure, it means that you still have time to get in now on this slept-on technique for job hunters. Because trust me, as the job market continues to contract, people will begin pulling out all the stops to become part of the chosen. Don't be surprised if people start recommending book writing frequently in a few years. One thing I know about me, I am often early to the party, and I have a tendency to leave early before things get going really good, but not this time. This is one party I plan on capitalizing on because I'm early. So, since you're already typing away on your computer, tailoring your resume for every job you're applying for, you might as well write a book so that you can really compete. Now, here are 4 reasons why writing a book is more effective than writing a resume for employees and how it can set you apart from other job applicants. Reason number 1, writing a book connotes authority. It assumes competency, if not mastery, of a topic. Best of all, the length of the book or breadth of the topic is irrelevant. In other words, the book doesn't have to be too long, and neither does the scope have to be so wide or broad. It can be really tightly focused, which is what I recommend. Reason number 2, writing a book demonstrates critical thinking and assumes effective communication skills. It also shows that you have a point of view that you're willing to articulate. This is a necessary leadership quality. Reason number 3, writing a book gets the attention of industry movers and shakers and opens you up to high-level networking opportunities, speaking gigs, and media interviews. These are all assumed positions of authority. When you're seen in these positions, people automatically assume you are an authority. Reason number 4, as awareness of you and your book heightens, you can anticipate inbound communications from readers. Some of those readers can be decision makers themselves or have 1 degree of separation from them. Just imagine your next job or corporate contract is just a page flip away. Writing a book attracts attention to the author. You're in a completely different position when a company reaches out to you whether they're offering you a job as an employee or requesting to know more about how to retain your services as a contractor. And if they're requesting to work with you, that is a stronger position to be in than if you're one of thousands of applicants begging to be hired. Now, before you say it takes too long to write a book or you don't know how long it's going to take after writing your book before you get a job offer, let's compare writing a book to your current reality. Right now, you've been sending out ChatGPT edited, keyword stuffed resumes for months on end with no interviews, no feedback, and maybe a few automated messages saying the position was already filled. There are plenty of people online complaining that they've been looking for a job for 6 months, 9 months, a year and a half with no luck. Now, I'm not saying that you have to stop doing that, but while you continue to submit your resumes everywhere, you could also be working on something that can begin to attract opportunities to you, no matter how long it takes. I mean, you're willing to invest your time submitting resumes, hoping that it's going to do its thing. Why not writing a book and giving that the same open-ended time to do its thing? Now, I'm the first to tell you that math is not my ministry, but I would say that the odds are about the same between writing a book and getting it into the hands of the right decision makers and submitting your resume to 100 different jobs a week. About a snowball's chance in hell. Except the upside on writing a book is much higher than writing a resume. Let's think about it. If your resume makes it through, maybe you get a decent to mid upper five-figure job, somewhere between $60,000 and $99,000 a year. But when they come calling and asking to pitch themselves to you because they read your book, well, now you have every right to negotiate for a six-figure salary where $100,000 isn't the ceiling, it's the floor. But that's looking on the bright side of writing a book. Let's say that no jobs come calling, because honestly, there's no guarantee that this is going to work. I repeat, there is no guarantee that if you write a book, you'll get companies flinging job offers or consulting contracts at you left and right. So, with that said, and now that we're sober-minded, let's play devil's advocate. What is the worst case scenario from writing a book as an employee and being seen as a thought leader and no job offers are coming? Now, let's say you write a decent book and you're pretty consistent with marketing it and getting it in front of the right audience. And let's say you sell a very modest 10 books every month for the next year. That's only 112 bucks. That's 112 bucks. Hold on, because math is not my ministry. So 10 books times 12 months, 120 bucks, Lord. That's only 120 bucks. And let's say 30 of them wind up in the hands of the right people, action takers. Well, for one thing, you might find that you've started an additional income stream for yourself, modest though it may be. The first income stream is from the direct sales of your book. If you sold 120 books over the course of a year and you made, let's say, a $5 profit on each one, well, that's $600. I mean, that's basically your cell phone bill for the year, right? Not bad. But you could also be generating additional income streams from your book. That could include getting paid to speak maybe once a quarter. The book can also help you launch coaching or consulting services. Because like I said, maybe you have a handful of action takers. Maybe you develop an app or start a paid community. And you do this alongside the existing job that you're continuing to hug. Because we're out here in these job-hugging streets, child. While the income can start off small in the first year, just imagine it compounding over 2, 3, 4 years. The income and potential for other opportunities that can come from writing a book is only limited by yours and my imagination. It could put you in a position where you may never even care if the jobs come calling because you have just stepped into your new calling. So let's be clear. Write a book and you may never get a job offer, but you can begin to build a professional reputation and create income for yourself outside of a job for your expertise that you gained on your jobs. Making money on your own terms? I'd call that winning. Part 2: Why every employee should write a book, including you. Writing a book brings you attention and instantly gives you credibility. It cuts through the noise and positions you as an authority. People are used to seeing executives, founders, and CEOs write books. It's easy to assume that you need to reach that level of success first before you write yours. But even everyday employees like you and me can benefit from writing a book. You don't need to have a long list of accomplishments. You just need to know what others are interested in knowing. If you know more than a beginner, you are qualified to share. Whether you're an entry-level contributor or an experienced manager, everyone can document their job and how they get to their results. Share the pain points during the process. Talk about the results, the good and the bad. Offer recommendations for more efficiency and improvements. This is useful for those coming into the role behind you. It's also important for those at the C-suite level who need insights to make better decisions, but are far removed from the day-to-day. You are their eyes and ears on the ground, the guy in the chair. Sorry, a little Spider-Man Homecoming reference there. Writing a book also demonstrates your ability to communicate coherent, cogent ideas that can move your industry forward. Essentially, your book should be focused on sharing processes, procedures, and principles. These things don't change, or at least they evolve slowly. Now, how they get implemented, that always changes as technology and AI continues to advance. But we always need to know about the principles. Besides, these are the things that AI gets trained on. Your ability to communicate and synthesize ideas demonstrates insight, initiative, and soft skills. They are going to make you stand out and make you be considered a top choice to consult with or program AI or to lead teams as an employee in a managerial or C-suite role using AI. These are the types of skills AI cannot replace and will become increasingly important for those of us who do remain employed by corporate America. Part 3: Why you should write a book even if you hate your job or industry. It doesn't matter if you don't love your current role. The goal in writing your book isn't about pursuing your passion. It's about visibility. Even if you don't want to stay in your current field, writing about what you do still gets you noticed, and it can become the catalyst for pivoting to the next thing. And when you move into a new field, you'll write about that, and you'll bring the skills for writing, thinking, synthesizing ideas, and communicating right along with you. So start where you are. Ali Abdaal, who is a big YouTuber in the productivity space, started out as a medical student helping other new medical students study and be more productive with their time. Another huge YouTube influencer and business coach, Pat Flynn, began, I think it was in 2008, by writing a guide on helping people study for and pass a specific test. And now look at where he is. Both of these people built massive platforms and businesses over time. They started out in one specific place and evolved their brand. So don't obsess over where you are not, because we have a tendency to do that. I know I have a tendency to do that. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not over here yet. I don't have 500,000 followers on YouTube yet. I don't have a silver play button. That's okay. Everybody starts out with the same amount of followers on social media platforms. 0. Okay. So don't worry about where you're not. Focus on how to leverage where you are so that you can position yourself to open the doors to where you want to go. If you want to move into leadership or into consulting, then focus your book on providing education, tips, strategies, processes. If you're aiming for an executive role, then emphasize how you've led projects and teams and improved results. You can't map out the entire journey of your career, but you can plan and execute your next step. And writing a book can help you take not just the next step, but the next leap forward. Books open doors that content alone often doesn't. And while I am heavily emphasizing that you should write a book, you should also be creating content on a consistent basis around the topics that you're going to be talking about in your book. So while it can take some time to gain traction on any given social platform, writing a book can really help accelerate that. Being an author opens doors to speaking at conferences, being a podcast guest, TV and radio features, and more. And then these appearances help you to amplify your social media content because your audience is going to grow because of all of your appearances. So it's really important that you don't just hit publish on your book and then wait around for the invitations to come. They just might not. Commit to seeking out opportunities and pitching yourself. I know it can be a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you're an introvert, but as they say, closed mouths don't get fed. Network in your industry and in adjacent ones. Go to conferences, subscribe to different newsletters, and talk about your book everywhere you go. Visibility is the goal. And as you get more visible, the attention you gain can be leveraged later. Part 4. How to get started writing a career-changing book. One of the most important things you need to know is that your book should be rooted in your personal lived experiences in your career. Or if you were in a position where you were helping others to accomplish results and were an integral part of that process, that counts too. Adding in research, a summary of literature on your topic, or insights from interviews you conducted will add to your book's credibility. But it isn't mandatory for most books, especially when you're just starting out and you're writing your first book. Your stories are your credibility and stamp of authority. This means no asking ChatGPT or Claude to outline a book for you. This way, you're guaranteed that your authenticity and unique perspective shines through, and no accidental plagiarism of other people. Now, if what you write happens to align with others in your industry, that's great, and it's a happy coincidence. Now, my recommendation here doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't use AI assistance in your writing process. I mean, I'd be hypocritical if I said that because I use AI tools as a writing assistant. And if you'd like to know how I'm able to use AI in my writing process while still keeping a very human-first approach to my writing, I have a video on my Writing with Denise Renee YouTube channel called AI Writing, my AI-assisted content and book writing process. Check out the link in the description box for this video or in the show notes if you're listening on Substack, Spotify, or another platform. And feel free to adopt my AI-assisted writing process for your own while writing your book. But you might be scratching your head saying, if you don't recommend starting with ChatGPT, how should you be getting started? Well, I'm glad you asked. Many smart professionals have a few problems in common when they want to start writing a book, especially if writing has never been their thing. And especially if they're not used to creating content. Some people just don't know what they should write about. Their minds go blank. Others struggle with waiting for inspiration and wanting to have the perfect title and a brilliant first line written before they feel like they can proceed further. But those things are so not necessary. Most people miss out on starting to write their books the right way. Neither do they have a process for organizing and presenting their information, nor for staying committed until their manuscript is finished. I mean, it's a hot mess, but that's okay, because that's why your business book bestie is here. I'm not going to let you be a hot mess. We're going to make sure that you are equipped to write your book from start to finish. So speaking of starting, the first place to begin writing your book is to think about what your goals are for your book. Surprised? Yeah, I didn't say crack open a new document and start typing away. No, we need to start strategically. Once you've decided what your goals are for your book, next you want to decide the audience that you're looking to help, and you need to be clear about what your book is going to help them with. This is important because it will help dictate what you write about and for what purpose. So, for example, if you're targeting industry decision makers, recruiters, and hiring managers, what you write about and how you write about it will be very different than if you were going after, let's say, one-on-one coaching clients. Two different audiences, two different needs. That's why you start here. All successful writers tailor their content to their audience. And you want to make sure that what your book is going to help them with intersects with your experiences and expertise. Now, you do not want to start writing from scratch. So picking the right framework for your book will make writing much easier. Now, it's important to view writing as a process. And remember that your first draft will not be your final copy. So having a simple, no pressure way to start your writing is important to developing momentum. And once you have some initial words on the page, it's a good idea to organize them into an outline and to use that as a guide for the rest of your writing process. Now, if it sounds like I just said a mouthful, no worries, I got you. This is just a really high level overview of my proprietary system that I call 4 Steps to Start Writing Your Book. I make the process of starting to write and finish your book as easy as listening to an audio podcast and filling in the blanks in a workbook. If you want to learn more and get your copy so that you can get started writing your book today, head over to writingwithdeniserenee.com/4 steps. That's writingwithdeniserenee.com/the number 4 and the word steps. Part 5. How long your book should be and how long it should take you to write it. Your book does not have to take you long to write. Neither does it have to be super long to read. In fact, it probably shouldn't be. You can write a tightly focused book that's hyper useful to your reader in 100 pages or less. Your book should express one main idea and walk your readers through one process. You can write your book as fast or as slowly as your schedule allows. If you write 15 minutes a day, then it might take you a couple of months to finish your manuscript. If you can afford to invest an hour or 2 daily on a consistent basis, then you could probably draft a simple process book in less than a month. Then you can allow another month or 2 for gathering feedback from beta readers, rewriting, and the editing process. Now, do not skimp on editing. In fact, that's probably going to be the biggest expense that you have in the writing process, because once your words are out there, you can't take them back. And as they say, you do not get a second chance to make a first impression. And you have to remember that once someone buys your book, whether they know you personally, and most likely they won't, they're not going to have you sitting there over their shoulder and explaining any little thing that they may have a question about. The words on the page have got to stand on their own and represent you well. That's why you don't want to skimp on editing or try to do it yourself or just try running it through Grammarly. That's not going to cut it. But ultimately, you can write and self-publish your book relatively quickly. But my recommendation is to prioritize quality over speed. Don't just try to rush through it because you're trying to get something out there. Again, once it's out there, you can't take it back. Or the impression that a rushed project could leave. Now, you should leverage your book to grow your email list. The way you do that is by offering a free resource that complements the book. And it's something that you can mention in several places throughout the book. It should be something easily delivered by email, like a checklist, a workbook, a private video series, or an exclusive audio training. But don't overhype your offer or be too pushy. The meat and potatoes should be in the book's content, and your book's content need to deliver a full and satisfying meal. Don't use your book as a thinly veiled marketing pitch for hiring you or for them buying a high ticket item from you like coaching or consulting. Focus on delivering value in the book, that full satisfying meal. That in and of itself will go a long way to help people come to the decision of hiring you on their own. And the whole point of getting people onto your email list is so that you can nurture them over time. And you'll do that by sending them either a weekly or a monthly newsletter, and you're going to fill that up with more useful tips related to your book, industry news, content from your socials, and anything else that helps to grow the relationship. And occasionally, you can send an email pitching your digital product, pitching your services, or asking for referrals for jobs, speaking gigs, and other opportunities, because you'll be growing a community. And after giving them so much great, valuable information, you're going to have a handful of people who are going to want to jump at the chance to offer you some reciprocity. Part 6. Practical Self-Publishing Tips. All right, this section is going to be pretty quick. I just have a couple of bullet points that I'm going to move right through. My first tip, I already mentioned, but it bears repeating. Spend money on a professional editor. The other thing that I think you should spend money on is a professional cover. This doesn't have to cost you a whole bunch of money. I don't think it should be more than $300. But unless you are a professional graphic designer, avoid doing your own covers. And you especially want to avoid using free images or even the ones that are labeled royalty free in an app such as Canva, because these images can have challenges and it has taken people's Amazon listings down. So working with a graphic designer who knows how to source images for commercial usage properly, and then in turn gives you a license to use the work that they created for you, or really technically it's a work for hire, that will keep you in compliance no matter where you choose to market your book. Oh, and avoid using AI generated covers too, because we simply don't know what the legalities are when you say, create a book cover that looks like this cover from Dean Koontz. Like, yeah, no, don't do that. All right. So keep your work protected and just go through the proper channels and just spend a few $100s to have it done right. You're going to want to also spend a few dollars to copyright your book and your cover image with the Library of Congress at loc.gov. Now, this is so super important. Do not accept anyone's free ISBN number, because anyone who owns the ISBN number is technically your publisher and they have the rights to your book. So protect yourself by purchasing your own ISBN numbers, and they are only issued through Boker, the only agency in the US that's authorized to sell them. And you get it at a website called myidentifiers.com. You could purchase one for $125 or a pack of 10 for $250. Not only is that a better deal, but if you're going to be releasing different versions of your book, like a print version, an ebook version, and an audiobook version, then you're going to need that pack of 10, because that's 3 ISBN numbers right there. And then you still have enough left over to do 3 versions of 2 other books. And something you'll hear me say throughout my content, don't be a one-book wonder. Plan to write series of books. And embedded in there, I said audiobook. So you definitely want to consider recording an audiobook version, simply because they're getting more popular and they can net you more money too. So don't sleep on that. And then finally, use a publishing platform that offers a print-on-demand option. And of course, Amazon is the biggest and the most famous, but there are other options as well. And why print on demand? Because there's no need for boxes of your books to be piled up in your living room or in the trunk of your car, waiting for you to painfully sell them one by one. There's no need for that. Part 7, Final Thoughts. So keep in mind that anything worth building takes time. While it is possible to write a book and get it into the marketplace in as little as a few weeks or anywhere between 3 and 6 months, don't expect an avalanche of results. Now, could you experience an avalanche of results if you craft a winning marketing plan for your book and stay consistent with continuous execution? Yes, you can. But for the sake of setting expectations, most of us will likely just see incremental results with just a few spikes every now and then that puts a jetpack on our momentum. Where you're really going to be winning is compounding efforts over time. So whether you get results instantly because a piece of content went viral or you managed to get a spot on a nationally syndicated TV show, or maybe after 15 months of solid promotion, you start to see what you want to see. Either way, no matter which scenario wins out, or maybe it's some kind of middle ground scenario, if you remain committed to promoting your book to the right audience, you will get results. The results may be exactly what you expected, a dream job landing, right into your LinkedIn DMs. The results could also be 100% unexpected in all of the best ways. You might wind up starting a new business or inventing something new. Who knows where this journey can take you? And I really hope that you take a moment and let your mind wander, dream, because I truly hope that this episode is inspiring, but not just in that warm and fuzzy feeling kind of way, in a way where you're like, you know what? I believe I can do this. Let me get up and take action. So your first action can be to visit the description box of this video or the show notes for helpful links, including the link to my 4 steps to start writing your book resource. Another action you can take is to share this episode with one person that you know could use it. Now, I'm going to get back to making edits on my book right now, and I'll catch you in the next episode.